Okay, time to pick another to review. Let's see what I'm going to be listening to next. Alright, we're going to be listening to Ocean. I think sometimes with people's favorite artists, or just, artists I like in general, they get so used to a particular style that that artist has, a particular genre, etc., that when they go into a new direction or even try something different slightly, they don't give it the chance that it deserves. That's me. I'm people. That happened with Tori Amos for me. So I discovered her music in like early 2000s. Well, maybe close to, no, yeah, early. I want to say 2004, 2005. So still around that time. Um, and you know, she, I think, only had a couple albums in the 2000s out at that time. I could be wrong. I could be missing one in my memory here. So most of the stuff that I had heard from her was her 90s stuff, right? And I really liked that. The first album that I bought from her was the Tales of the Librarian collection because I heard some of her songs and I just wanted like a collection from like the different albums and everything. So I got that. The first like regular like studio album that I got um by her was American Doll Posse. And that had a very different style and tone and everything to her 90s and early 2000s stuff. And I also think that I didn't, or I wasn't able to appreciate some of the songs that were on there like I can now. And so with her latest music out, I've been looking back at the 2007 and on music that she had put out. And I'm realizing that I really missed out. I liked them, I listened to them, but I always thought it's not as good as the early stuff. And to some degree, I still agree. However, she does have a lot of fantastic songs in the last 10 years or so. Ocean to Ocean, I think is, if I'm going to criticize it, is too short. Um, I think it's a beautiful piece of work. This was written during the COVID lockdown, and this is just about a lot of her experience during that, the emotions she was going through and everything. She had mentioned that a couple years prior, she had lost her mother, and so when she needed, somebody like that to talk to during the COVID lockdown and everything, she couldn't go and call her mom and talk about things because, she was no longer with her. And so songs like Speaking with Trees, I'm pretty sure I got that right, is about her, like mentally, spiritually communicating with her mother. She mentions in like an interview that she had placed some of her mother's ashes by a tree house and everything. So it's like very spiritually symbolic, of speaking to someone in that way. Another really good one is Meadow Water Wood, and she talks about like always being like fire, and then you kind of realize that you have to be within the other elements, right? Um, for those of you who may not um, know about certain like spiritualities and stuff. A lot of witchy pagan things, but probably also in other religions and cultures too. A lot of people assign certain traits with the elements and everything, right? So, fire, you'll have passion, maybe a little bit of anger, whereas water is a little bit more calm and changing and stuff like that. So, it's about kind of changing and being different things. Um, I think this to me sounds like a mix, and of course it's its own thing too. But if I was gonna give like an example of what it sounds like, I would say that this sounds like a mix between Scarlet's Walk and American Doll Posse, right? Um, it sounds like that kind of well, both of them kind of have those social conscious issues and everything, but I think her singing from American Doll Posse has stayed that way and the way her vocals are, but the music itself reminds me a lot of Scarlet's Walk. Has a little bit of that. Is it country, is it folk, something like that. If you listen to it, you'll understand what I mean. But yeah, the songs just sound beautiful. Spies is a fun one. That one, I think she said she wrote when bats got into their house and her daughter was afraid. And when she was a kid, she would always write her like a lullaby. And so that's kind of what she did in song form. But it's more of a fun song, in my opinion. It reminds me kind of something of um, Hello, Mr. Zebra or Happy Phantom. Obviously, not the same meaning, but more, like I said, of a whimsical, fun kind of song. So, yeah, I like Spies. I liked Speaking with Trees. Speaking with Trees is probably the best one on that one. I think the first song, I keep messing it up in my head, but I think it's Light Divided or something like that. That's a really good starter. So yeah, I really recommend Ocean to Ocean. I think all the songs are beautifully done. But Speaking of Trees and Spies and Meadow Waterwood, Devil's Bane is also a good one. I read that is about or it's inspired by a friend whose partner was really bad to them during the lockdown. So yeah, there's just so much with this album here, you know, imagination, grief, loss, um, just a bunch of stuff. I recommend it. Go listen to it. It's beautifully done.